know who I am. My name is Brian Allmon. Number one, I'm a proud descendant of a Confederate veteran. His name was Private Joseph Vincent Lively, Virginia Light Artillery. They call him Centerville Rifles. Number two, I'm commander of the Stonewall Jackson Camp, number 23 in Charlotte. I'm a sergeant in the Mechanized Cavalry, and I'm a thorn in the Order of the Confederate Brothers. Today, does anyone know what happened today 152 years ago? Okay, I'm going to tell you what happened 152 years ago. 152 years ago is why we're right here. Today was the end of the war 152 years ago. And that's what's bringing us, well, I'm going to be speaking especially about this fellow here, Andrew Dykes. Now, I have a page on Facebook. It's called Confederate Gravestone, and I stopped by here one day, and I looked and I said, man, there's 7 soldiers here in the 34th, and I looked them up. They're from up there where Creighton Lovis is from. And I said, why are they buried here? Well, here's what we're going to be speaking on. This fellow's name is Ansel Dykes. So, I really don't have a name for this program or whatever. I'm going to call it Glad, Sad, and Mad. So, and I'm trying not to bore you. Bob said I could speak for 2 hours, so is that all right with everything?
No.
No? What do you mean no?
Yeah.
I'm joking. Okay. Huh? Well, I'm speaking up as loud as I can. All right. Okay. Ansel Dykes is here, and this is his brother Joseph. Ansel joined September 2nd, 1861, in Company B, the 34th Regiment. They called them the Sandy Run Yellow Jackets. They were from Rutherford, Tennessee, and the other unit was from the fleet. They must have been in service at Fort Fisher in High Point, North Carolina, and departed for Goldsboro, and then on to Virginia. They joined to defend the southern homeland. Some hurried, some looked back, some were captured. Some were brothers, some were cousins, some were uncles, nephews, and neighbors. Ansel was just a month from being 20 when he left his young pregnant wife and his brother to join the Confederates. He fought in every main battle that the 34th did until he found himself sick in a hospital in Richmond, Virginia, which he received a medical discharge on June 5th, 1862. The reason was, the medical reason was a broke down constitution. He rejoined February 28, 1863, and he served through April 9th, today, 1865. That's 152 years ago. Where he took the oath of allegiance at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. Okay? Early that afternoon, General Lee told his men, go to your homes and resume your occupations, obey the law, and become a good citizen as you were a soldier. A letter from Ansel wrote to his wife Mary. They really had a hard time. They were in every major battle. He said, an accident happened this morning. When I got up to make a fire, I started to fall, and I hit my foot against something and tore off a piece of skin the size of a silver dollar, right there off the bottom. So they had no shoes, they had no food. Can you imagine walking around with a piece of skin about that big off the bottom of your foot? Ansel walked back to North Carolina on April 12th with his brother Joseph. They hung around for a few days. They made it back to the Catawba River on April the 21st, which is right over here, Catawba River. Which about, I looked it up, it's about 188 miles here to Appomattox Courthouse. He said, so that's about 188 miles in 9 days they walked. And they only had about 50 more miles to walk to Rutherford County to reunite with his wife, and he had another child that he had never met. Okay? And he had never seen. Now, this is where it gets sad. Okay. Private Ansel Dykes, when they reached Mecklenburg side of the Catawba River, right over there on the other side, they discovered there was no ferries running due to the extreme high water and turbulence. Now, a historian from this area told me that the river ain't like what it is now, because it wasn't dammed up. It was a very swift moving river. Due to the extreme high water and turbulence. In haste to get home, they hired a local boy and his fishing boat to the ferry to ferry him across. The boat was swamped and capsized, sending everyone overboard into the water. Only Ansel Dykes managed to make it across the river, reach the other side, and then he seen his brother drowning, so he jumped back in, and he was never seen again. So, a cruel turn of fate. There were seven Confederate veterans that drowned in that river. He was never found. Now, this is what I found this. Well, I didn't. I got Bruce Compton to find it. This is what's kind of sad. While excavating a boathouse on the banks of the Catawba River in Mount Holly a few days ago, workmen engaged in a task unearthing a skeleton of a man several feet beneath the surface near the river bank. They thought the person was long ago. And it says older town citizens recalled of a soldier that were buried up on the hill, which is here. Now, so they took his body up here and they buried it in the cemetery. So, that was June the 27th, 1913. So he was found 48 years later in the river, and they brought him up and they placed him right here. Now, I'm going to go to the mad part of it. When I placed these stones on my finder grave, on my Facebook page, he sent me a message. He says, I have this book, and it's a great book to get. If anyone needs it, it's called Michael Peter. It tells all about his life.